Hi, I'm Nate the Bias User, and today I'm going to be reviewing this new Algiers album, Shook. Considering the first and only time I came across Algiers till now, I was under the impression this band was an alt-rock act, but I guess this time around they didn't step off it completely, but experimented with other stuff on this record. The first track, Everybody Shatters, we get a dark spin on synth pop with some fog put on top of mystical synths, and I can't forget the soft drums that have finger snapping keeping up with the snare. Also, if you're still missing the rock side of Algiers, you should be happy to know that's all the choruses, and it's good. It makes a good balance. Then there's Irreversible Damage that goes even further on the experimentation, with the shaking synths that Zach De La Roja from Rage Against the Machine flows good on. But I wouldn't say this track goes all the way with enjoyment, because the instrumental was just too linear and flat. This thing definitely could have had more density. With the song 73%, the fast part was catchy, and the track as a whole was just noisy in a good way, with the repeating bright guitar scratching. But the instrumentation was just too loose, and I also wasn't pleased with it being as skeletal as it was. Even though they're really short, not even hitting the 2-minute mark, the two tracks after were good. Cleanse Your Guilt Here has the low quality sample you would get on a jazz rap instrumental given to Westside Gunn or Boldy James, just to name a few. The next cut is As It Resounds, and while this feels more like an interlude due to it having Big Rube talk for the whole thing, I like hearing him talk over the deep synth. Bite Back has a beat that will give a few people a spook, with its all over the place synth backing up a weirdly hitting but intentional drum beat, and I think Billy Woods and Backwash were the best people to be on a beat like this. But this track that is 6 minutes long has beat changes that don't always work, and what we get on the Backwash feature was sadly the beat stripping the things back, leaving her voice in the crashing and windy drums Backwash always has, but not a lot of thrill coming with it. I'll also point out there's another cut on this record, Green Iris, that also stays for 6 minutes and I'm not crazy about. Except this one is underwhelming at the start and then gets intense. But in between both tracks, we get good stuff. Out of Style sold me hard on the group singing. In the background, that's on point with the bass up front, but the track as a whole is just good jazz Mark Cisneros talks over. And A Good Man was an exciting little punk cut. When reaching the back end, there were more tracks that were tolerable, but weren't all that great, like Cold World in the last two tracks, but in Echophonic Soul did have nice hornplay. And there was at least one track that stood out a lot. Something Wrong Goes new wave in its out there synth that actually works well with the overall low-key instrumental. But even when it's not in that field later, it was an enjoyable post-punk rush. I wish there were more like this in the bunch, but better than nothing. Shook was a creative and inventive Algiers record. I will never take that away, but I also won't take away this record's lack of ways of having the audience, including myself, to keep an eye out for the potentially great ideas on the calm approach for most of these songs. I'm going to give this album a 6.2. Like, subscribe, comment how you feel, or give a suggestion. Check out my other social medias, and I'll see you next time.